Welcome back. Confusion on Capitol Hill. President Trump canceled the signing ceremony for the 21st Century Road to the Housing Act yesterday. The president posted on Truth Social this: today's housing news conference and signing is hereby canceled until such time as we pass the desperately needed Save America Act, which I consider to be a national emergency. The Save America Act passed out of the House back in February, but Senate Majority Leader John Thune told me and has repeatedly said he does not have the votes to pass the measure in the Senate. Wyoming Senator Cynthia Lummis, meanwhile, joined me yesterday, who voiced a different tone. Watch this.
If the president wants to talk about the Save America Act, he's aware, because of Senator Thune's remarks, that we don't have the votes to pass the full spectrum of ideas that fall under the Save America Act. But we probably do have the votes to get certain portions of it passed. So we need to smartly break up Save America Act and get those components that we can get passed that will make a difference enacted.
So what would make a big difference? I mean, would you expect that having ID to vote and proving your citizenship will fly going into the midterms? Do you think you could pass something like that?
Yes, I think that we could pass something like that.
Joining me now is Montana Congressman Troy Downing. He sits on the Financial Services Committee. Congressman, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Good to see you. Good morning.
So clearly, President Trump is digging in here on the Save America Act. Could it be passed in some other way, as you just heard from the senator?
Well, I think we're all frustrated. The administration is frustrated. The American people are frustrated. I mean, this is an issue that has very broad support amongst constituents. You've seen, upward of 70% think that you should have to prove that you're a citizen to vote. We've got, or at least, I've seen as high as 85% that have this. So clearly, this is, political theater here because the people want it, and we have passed this over multiple times in the House, and it is a little frustrating. I understand the president's frustration, but I think, as you pointed out, Maria, I think the biggest thing here is folks want to make sure that anybody who is allowed to vote in American elections can, and anybody who's not allowed cannot, that we foreclose that. It's not rocket science. And for me personally, I'm hoping that we can get at least that main crux of that through. I know 100% we can get it through the House. We've done that over and over and over again. And again, I understand the president's frustration. We're all frustrated to try to get this through the Senate. And, they've got their own wrangling, and Leader Thune has his own wrangling to do in his chamber. And I hope that quickly he does what needs to be done to get this passed so that we can move on.
Yeah, I mean, is he doing it, though? Is he doing the wrangling? I mean, the Speaker, Mike Johnson, in the House said that he will push parts of the Save America Act through a third reconciliation package. But the president said last night he's not open to a compromise measure on it, Congressman. I know that the House was passing this legislation as a standalone measure before, as you just mentioned. A reconciliation package is what Mike Johnson's talking about. But once that package gets to the Senate, is there enough time to get the support to get it to the president's desk?
Well, we certainly hope so, and there's a lot of effort, especially on the House side, to try to get a reconciliation bill through. There's so much policy that we still need to and still want to get done this Congress, and so that's one of the paths. And frankly, I think if you just keep putting this up for votes and show that the Democrats are contrary to their constituents on this issue. That's a very important issue to so many Americans. Maybe we can get something to move there. But I completely support Speaker Johnson's attempt to find another vehicle to get this done. And, my personal opinion is if we can get the ball down the field in the right direction, that's a win. If we have to piecemeal it, if we have to put it into a reconciliation bill, we need to get some closure on this issue because it is a very big issue for not just here in D.C., but for the people who sent us here.
Well, it doesn't matter what the president comes up with. The Democrats are going to try to upend his agenda. I mean, there's an upcoming October 1st deadline now for government funding after all that you've been through with these shutdowns. This past fall, we saw the longest full government shutdown in history. The Department of Homeland Security went without funding for 76 days. And Florida Senator Rick Scott was with me here last week, and he said he would not be surprised to see it all happen again right before the midterms. Watch this.
The Democrats are going to shut down government October 1. We have to, whether we fund it through reconciliation or through a continuing resolution, remember, everything will get shut down again. This will be the fourth time in 2 years by the Democrats. So we've got to figure out how to fund the government, like just how do we fund ICE and CBP through reconciliation. So we were going to have to do something. Our government will be shut down because the Democrats think it's good, it's in their best interest to win in November.
So you think we're seeing another government shutdown on the horizon before the midterms then?
Absolutely. October 1, government will shut down unless the Republicans, we come together and fund government through a continuing resolution, through reconciliation, something, and we need to get started on it now.
Congressman, what do you think? Your reaction? You agree with that?
You know, I think we're all tired of this political theater.
Yeah.
And we've seen the other side of the aisle, trying to throw this at us again and again. And everybody comes up with who wins in a shutdown. Nobody wins in a shutdown. But I will tell you that at least my side of the aisle and with the administration, we have tools to make sure that we can still do those basic services. I mean, we've had, as the good senator was talking about, we have tools with reconciliation, with CRs, with moving funds around temporarily. But all of us want to get back to legislating. We want to get back to regular order. And I was so happy to see us get so far down that path last cycle when we got all 12 of the appropriations bills through in the House. And unfortunately, that 12th one got stuck up in the Senate, and we had that first shutdown. But this is political theater. And I think that the senator was right that the other side is going to try to use this to, create an adverse a midterm election for us, and we just need to make sure that we're going to stand up for the American people, do everything we can, use the tools at our disposal to make sure that we lessen that effect on the American people as much as we can.
All right, we'll be watching all of that, Congressman. Good to see you this morning. Thank you.
Great to see you. Thank you, Maria.
All right, Congressman Troy Downing. Stay with us. We'll be right back.